Hello there, my name is Gordon McCrory. I am the happiness guy, and this is a video all about meditation, what it is, what it isn't, what it's useful for, I want to dispel some of the myths, and hopefully help you get kind of something out of meditation. It's a really interesting thing because meditation meets almost more resistance than any other concept that I put in front of clients. And that is interesting. I think it's kind of something that we just kind of don't quite know what it is, and we kind of think that it's robes and chanting and incense and monks and all of that, and of course it can be that, but for most people in the West, then it's absolutely not that. So why am I shooting a video on meditation? I would say that I credit it with my mental well-being, which is massively important for my emotional well-being, and I'll break mental and emotional down a little bit more. And if mental and emotional well-being are good, then physical well-being has got a fighting chance of being really good too. So when I look at all of the things that I've got going on in my life, all of the different practices that I have and for my health and my well-being, and just kind of having a great life, then believe it or not, I credit meditation with probably being the most important thing that I do on a day-to-day basis to help me have a great life. So it's a really big deal. So let's talk a little bit about meditation. The first thing that people kind of think about meditation is that often the first thing is that it's about stopping thinking. It's about just quietening their mind and forcing thoughts out and not thinking. And so when they sit down and they try and do it, give it 5 or 10 seconds, and the first thing that happens is your brain just kind of throws a thought up, and it's seemingly from nowhere. And so they try to stop that, and the more they try, the more thoughts they have. And so they then just stop doing it and think, I'm rubbish at this, I'm not any good at this. And actually, really, that's just a way of kind of seeing that, look, your brain's really busy. And the busier it is, actually, rather ironically, the more you need meditation, because with a bit of practice, meditation will really slow the quantity of your thoughts down, and kind of create this kind of space, if you like, this peace. So first point, it's not about stopping thinking. Instead, it's kind of more about an opportunity to just take a little bit of time, have a little bit of silence, breathe kind of a little bit more deeply, just slow down. And one of the very basic techniques for meditation is just sit in silence and pay attention to your breathing. Just try and focus on your breathing. Now, that might seem like a rather pointless exercise. Why bother? But actually, it's because meditation, one of the key things about it is it's how we train our focus, how we train our attention. So rather than say to someone, just pay attention to this or just focus on this, nobody really knows how to do that typically. It's an instruction that's hard to follow. So how do you learn to pay attention? Meditation. And because your mind's busy, it's going to kind of drift off into different things all of the time. And how you get much better at staying on point and controlling your focus is this practice in meditation where you notice that it disappears off and you go, oh, no, not over there, come back here. And the use in that is, in real life, is if you're having a thought that's really negative and then that generates a feeling, and then you have another thought that's really negative, and before you know it, you're having a terrible day. And if you're not in control of your mind, and most people aren't, then their mind is in control of them. And it can create an awful lot of kind of pain and distress based on the kind of quality of thoughts that you're having. So for me, meditation allows me to train to control my focus so that when it goes into an area that I really don't want it to be in, I can bring it back onto something that's far more useful for me. Another thing that I do with kind of meditation is I'll just ask myself a question at the beginning of it, and it's, how am I feeling kind of physically, mentally, and emotionally? And so that's about connection with yourself. That's about kind of having a good relationship with yourself. And it just gives you a few moments. And if you imagine you met a friend, you'd really want to know, how are they? So physically, for me, how am I feeling physically? Have I got any pain? Do I recognize any tension? Am I well rested? Am I energized? Where am I at physically? Mentally, how I kind of think of that is, how busy is my mind? If it's relentless with thinking, I need to slow down. I need to maybe schedule some more time between sessions. I maybe need to get out in nature. I need to do something that slows my brain down a little bit. Or maybe I just need to write everything down and get it out that way. But also when I'm thinking about mentally, it kind of ties to emotional. It's like, what's the quality of my thoughts? Are they really positive? Are they really negative? So it's a chance to check that I'm on track versus off track. And emotionally, what am I feeling? Am I feeling connected? Am I feeling loved? Am I feeling happy? Or do I notice some kind of friction inside? Am I stressed? Am I tense? So meditation's a brilliant time when we can actually just take a few minutes, and it can be as little as a minute or two, and sit and think, right, well, where am I at just now? And then from the answer from that, we can think, well, what one thing could I do that would help me feel better, physically, mentally, or emotionally? And then we go and do that thing. And so it allows us to take care of ourselves. And the other really, really, really important thing with kind of meditation is I think we're very much overstimulated just now. There's far too much input, stimulus coming into the brain all of the time, kind of with tech and work and the news and so many things. And that creates structural changes in the brain, where a part of our brain called the amygdala, which is a threat center. That's unfortunate that the fire alarm's going off. The threat center in the brain, that couldn't be at a better time, so I better wrap this up really quickly. The threat center in the brain, oh, it's just a test, fabulous, but yet not. So the threat center in the brain, that's quite amusing, becomes overdeveloped and starts to control the mind and influence the thinking. And that then creates more cortisol and more adrenaline, and we're tired all the time, and we're stressed out and we're anxious. And meditation's the one thing that we know of that can clinically shrink the size of this area of the brain and help cut the cord, help it relinquish control from the amygdala and give it back to the human mind. So there's so many good things about meditation, and it's not about stopping your thinking. It's about helping you feel better. It's about taking a little bit of time for yourself and just thinking, how am I getting on? And just allowing yourself to kind of settle down or breathe a little bit more deeply. So I hope this video has been useful for you. I'd love to know your thoughts on meditation, how you've got on with it. And if you need any help with kind of anything that I've kind of mentioned today, then don't hesitate to get in touch. I hope you're well, and I'll speak to you soon again. Bye-bye.